I think is the answer. Let me begin actually with the question about the low interest rate and the extent to which that is to blame. We've had periods in which we've had low interest rates without bubbles. When we had good regulation in the years after World War II. So low interest rates do not necessarily lead to bubbles. One way I think about it is the following. If a firm came to you and said, the reason I lost so much money that I was so, I did such a bad job is my workers decided that they were willing to work at a low wage. And that was the reason my profits were low and I messed up. What would you say to the firm? You would say, what? You're complaining about low wages? Well, what's the major input to banks, financial system? It's capital. And they're complaining today, they're blaming the Fed because it gave them capital at too low a price. That kind of argument is itself a reason why we should be worried about the financial system. If they had done their job, and they didn't, if they had done their job, taken that low-cost capital, allocated it well to create factories, to create, go into research, we would be having a boom now all over the world. The money could have been channeled to help developing countries that use high return investments in developing countries. So the fundamental problem was that they allowed the banks to misallocate the capital, channel it, didn't see that a bubble was forming. In fact, because they believed that there were no such things as bubbles. So it was the failure of the Fed, but in its role as a regulatory authority, not in its role of failing to follow the Taylor rule. Now, there are some people, Martin Luther and others, who blame the problem on China for saving too much. They use the word global imbalance. Again, I view it's the same kind of argument. We are complaining about access to too low cost of capital as the reason our system failed. Again, it seems to me a very peculiar argument. And right now, the way the G20 is responding is equally peculiar, because what they're telling the agreement that was made in Pittsburgh is for the U.S. to save more. I think that's a good thing. One from a zero savings rate to a more reasonable savings rate is a move in the right direction. But the other part of it is telling China that it should consume more, that it should start imitating America's pro-good lifestyle. Our planet cannot survive if we do that. So the problem isn't excess savings. The problem is that the savings are not being channeled to the huge needs that the world has. And not only problems of global poverty, but climate change and retrofitting the global economy, or the needs for a green economy. Again, the financial sector is failing to do its key role in intermediation of bringing these funds available to the savers to the investors where our global society needs it. Now, in some cases, it's not just a failure of the financial markets. Failure to reach an agreement in Copenhagen means that the price of carbon is not what it should be, and that means the price system is failing to do what it should do.